just thank you everyone for, tuning in to the Future Esports Job Panel put on by BizzTalk. The official sponsor for the whole panel, all the panels this week, so we wanted to give them a shout out, is Boa Compra. So thank you to them for, powering it and making all this possible. But, we'll just jump into it. I don't want to waste too much time. My name is Juan Rodriguez, but I am just the host. You guys will be hearing from all these great panelists that we have. So to just kick it off, and we'll go left to right here on my screen. If, you guys as the panelists, you just want to take like a minute and a half to tell us, a little bit who you are, what you do. Nathan, you're on my left. So if you want to kick it off, that'd be great.
Sure. So my name's Nathan. I'm managing partner for New Level Recruiting. A little bit background about me. I was the head of recruiting for Riot's esports team. Did recruiting for all of the folks that go into putting on professional esports for Riot games. After that, I was the head of North American recruiting for PUBG, and noticed that there was a gap in the market for an outside recruiting firm that specialized in esports and gaming placements. And so that's where my firm came in, and been doing this the past 2 years now.
Nice. That's awesome. Matt, you're next on my screen.
Awesome. Yeah, my name is Matthew Benson. I'm the founder and CEO of eFuse. And in short, eFuse is a professional network for esports and video games. So our core focus is on bringing the gaming community together, primarily individuals that have a passion for the gaming or that want a career in gaming, and then helping to connect them to opportunities like scholarships, jobs, internships, tournaments, etc.
And Marcio, if you want to round it out.
Hello, my name is Marcio Medeiros. I'm from Brazil. I'm working with esports and games since 2018, when I created Vagas VR, which is a profile on Twitter that shares jobs opportunities for people in Brazil, remote jobs around the world, which the person can work from Brazil. Vagas is job opportunity in Portuguese, and I double the G to relate with GG in games, good game. So it's a place where the people can find jobs in esports and games here in Brazil.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for joining the panel and, taking the time to hop on here. To set the stage for everyone listening as well, too, we'll go through this. We've got a little bit of a program scheduled, and then at the end, hopefully we'll have like a couple minutes for Q&A if you guys want to ask any of them questions at the end. But for you guys, just to kick it off, I think really a good place is, a lot of people want to be in gaming. They want to be in esports. They want to break into the space. I know you guys are a little bit in different geographic areas. If you just want to talk a bit from your experience and your guys' day-to-day, what are the opportunities that are out there right now for people? What does the job market look like? And I guess the first way we can take that is, let's say that you are a vet in a different industry, and let's say you've got 5-6 years experience somewhere else and you're trying to get into gaming and esports. What does the market look like for them? What kind of opportunities are out there? And an open discussion, round table. So however you guys want to take it.
Sure. Well, I can jump in. My firm gets contacted by folks in the esports and gaming industry typically whenever there's a lack of talent in the endemic space. Usually companies are coming to us because they're looking to take talent from either traditional sports or another adjacent industry to the esports and gaming world. And the two major places that there's been a talent war over the last 18 to 24 months has been in the business development as well as content space. So that's been the vast majority of our searches, from different esports teams to the, publisher organizations. And so, folks that are coming from different, different worlds other than esports that have 5-6 years of experience. Their experience is great and needed in our world. So I would say, a general passion for the game or games in general, and that kind of previous experience has done really well in our industry thus far.
Well, at least here in Brazil, what I'm reading and hearing in some podcasts and news, is that and I think the same way is that the companies need someone which is have experience in his area, but don't necessarily in the game and esports area. So if the person has the expertise, they have a place to work in that area in esports. So in sales and business development, project management and product management. If the person has that expertise, I'm seeing there's place for the person in that industry here in Brazil, at least, because we don't have a great a big path. So the industry is beginning here in Brazil. So there's not a lot of people with all the expertise in games and in esports here in Brazil. So they need to focus in person from other areas, from publishing agencies, advertising agencies, people from companies in which are leader in their market. So that is the way I'm seeing here in Brazil.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I'm a little bit biased, right? Because I'm sort of in this realm, but I'm really bullish on the infrastructure side of gaming. So we're based here in Columbus, Ohio. We have Esports Engine, one of the biggest event providers and producers in all of gaming, right next door to us. And then our company is really focused on the tech and software side of it. But I think that from my perspective, in the last 18 months, a lot of growth with younger startups coming into the space and playing in the infrastructure side, trying to be more of the support companies to the publishers, whether it's on the event side, whether it's in the connectivity side, whether it's in the tools that creators and gamers use around that. I'm really bullish that that'll continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a perfect actually point to pivot, Matthew, because that's where I was gonna go with it next is, and I kind of look at it 2 points. You've got, people from different industries that have that experience, but to pivot and now ask that question again for those that are, fresh out of college or are young entrepreneurs and are just starting their professional career in general. What do the opportunities look like for them? Are there any gaps in the industry that you guys see? Kind of what does that look like?
Yeah, I'll go right back. So that is my story, right? So I graduated from Ohio University 2 years ago, August of 2018. So I'm relatively new into the space, but that was my journey. Is saw an opportunity primarily in the connectivity of the industry and helping individuals not only connect with one another, but to those opportunities. And that's how eFuse was formed. So I do think that there's an opportunity for startups to come into this space. We've been fortunate to have raised over $2 million. We've got a 16-person team now. Our site grows around 3.5% every single day. So I think that one pathway is to go in and look at the industry as a whole and see new opportunities. But in tangent with that, you've also got a number of other new organizations that are continually growing. And I think more than ever, there's opportunities in this industry if you're willing to take the leap to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here in Brazil, I'm seeing the numbers growing with the opportunities, but like I said before, a lot of opportunities need the person with expertise and need the person with the college graduation. So when it's not possible to find someone with that expertise, at least a junior or a intermediate person. So they focus on the people with college, and here in Brazil is something that it's needed too. It's the person with English fluency. So I believe 90% of the jobs ask for this, because you are always connecting with people from all over the world in this industry. So it's a basic requirement here. I can say it's a basic requirement: English fluency and college graduation, or graduation, or at least you are studying yet in this in a college course. So many jobs today have this requirement here.
Anything from you, Nathan, to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, when, you know, our team, when we were at Riot, oversaw all of the job applications coming in from, you know, a lot of fresh graduates. And I think, you know, the current job outlook as it stands today for fresh grads, at least in the US, is not super great. You know, companies aren't quite as bullish on hiring, you know, entry level folks in the face of, you know, the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, a lot of companies are still trying to figure out how they do full work from home. So right now it's, you know, a little difficult, but I think in general, there's a lot of opportunities in the esports space. The number one thing that I saw as someone, you know, looking at resumes is that, you know, there's a ton of fans and there's a ton of, you know, and as was mentioned previously, you know, not a lot of experience. And so, you know, that's fairly standard for entry level positions, but I think whatever you can do to distinguish yourself or not, you know, differentiate yourself from other applicants is going to be huge. I mean, there was like viral videos of 100 Thieves intern and, you know, what that guy did to get hired. And I think things like that can make your resume and experience stand out are really going to be the best thing, other than, you know, if you know someone at the organization that can put in a good word for you.
Nathan, I've got a question for you, just out of curiosity from your perspective. How do you think about or how do you think like other partners in the industry are looking at these new developments of like esports majors and minors? Is that something that is intriguing different partners in the industry from your perspective?
I guess, you know, what do you mean? Or I'm not sure. I don't totally understand, you know, from where what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah, so you're fine. You're fine. So just, I guess, based here in Columbus, so Ohio State's the biggest university we have, and one of the things that they're doing is they're actually developing like esports focused majors and minors and classes around that specific piece. And I'm just curious if partners in the industry are looking at that, or companies in the industry are looking at that and saying, hey, that's actually a viable thing that we think is valuable, or if it's just something that universities are doing because they think it's valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I haven't ever had a hiring manager come to me and be like, "Hey, I'd love for this person to have an esports degree yet." You know, I think a lot of that is that it's just not known, and you know, I guess you know, the folks that are graduating with those degrees now are you know, fairly entry level. So you know, there hasn't been, I guess, a huge focus on that just yet from, you know, organizations or hiring managers that are really looking for that. I think we'll see kind of the outcome of how effective that was, or, you know, how much of a leg up those candidates have in the coming couple of years.
If I can say something, Matt, here in Brazil, we are starting to see some course related with sports, some free course where I can, if you can understand me, it's not a college, it's not a college graduation, but there are some the little course here in Brazil in some universities talking about esports now. Some courses related with psychology in esports. Some companies offering a course around the industry. Sport industries around the how to be a pro player, if I can say this. So we are starting to see these kind of things here.
Very cool.
Definitely not, and I'd agree with you, Nathan. I think, like you're saying, if you take the guy, for example, that had the 100 Thieves application, that was his video, I definitely think for, you know, any young people listening, creative stuff like that is definitely a great way to, you know, add to whatever else you've done. Okay, cool. Well, to go a little bit further, and we'll stay here on the topic of current esports jobs for the moment being, and we'll transition a bit to, you know, what's possibly in the future. But I wanted to tackle this because I think a lot of people, you know, we see it in a lot of posts. It's always in a lot of discussions. And since we've got a nice diverse panel here, I want to ask you guys the whole conversation of volunteering to get into the space. You know, what are your guys' perspectives on that? Is that what's going to be required for a lot of people to get a shot? Is that, you know, they need to go volunteer for organizations or for teams or events? or what are your guys' individual outlooks on the whole volunteering discussion?
Well, on this point, speaking about the work I did with Vagas since 2018, I focus a lot to share this kind of jobs because I didn't have time to research about the companies offering this kind of opportunity to see if to be sure about this kind of jobs because to know if they are important to the people, if they are not just to be exploited by someone or who would be earning from their work, without planning if that job opportunities have a plan for the future, have triggers for evolution. So from time to time, there are some offers here in Brazil about for volunteer, but I try to focus on share opportunities of a paid job, opportunities of internship jobs. So I believe there is a space for this, but I believe that it needs to be well structured to the person not be exploited by someone who is actually made money for this.
Yeah, I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head in the sense that you almost have to be just smart and in the right choice of the organization in which you're doing that for. I do think there's a lot to be said for going in and learning and providing value and getting that experience, but you want to do that with 100 Thieves. You don't just want to do that with a random org that has no past experience or no infrastructure to support that. So I think it's a hard choice, right? You've got to identify the winners to some extent, but if you're able to do that, not only does it give you great experience, but the value you're going to provide could warrant a full-time opportunity, a paid opportunity, et cetera.
Yeah, I completely agree with Matthew. I think it's important to realize that right now in the entry-level space for the esports world, there's just a supply and demand issue for candidates. And so anything that you can do to have an experience leg up over, other applicants is advisable. But at the same time, you do have to worry about, is your free labor something that, you can dedicate. So I think it's important to do if you're trying to get your initial foot in the door.
I think I believe it's sometimes it's more important to focus on your job, and if the person is a caster, for example, is a commentator, so the person can record some demos, and if the person is a designer, the person can develop some identity visuals for a fictitious company, or maybe for a company that really exists, and the person can build a portfolio and show to a company, to a person which hires in that company. So I believe it's sometimes more important to develop himself, and so the person can enter in this industry like this.
Yeah, I think Rick makes a great point here in the chat, and I think it goes back to Nathan's earlier point of what experience people we're looking for experience in the industry, right? So what experience can you get while you're in school that further justifies that when the time comes to actually into the workforce? So if you can get shoutcasting experience, if you can get event production experience, if you can go and intern at a software company, that's so valuable, and it doesn't require you to necessarily just take a leap of a completely unpaid opportunity. You can get that experience, stay in school, and then when the time comes, make the leap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And on that point, then, I think sometimes when we're in the space, we're aware of a lot of the opportunities. Obviously, you guys almost all sit in positions that you get to look at the entire industry and see where there are a lot of opportunities. I wanted to touch on for a couple of minutes for those that are maybe like younger, early teens, growing up. I think a lot of times we see just highlighted, streaming and being a pro esports player. And sometimes the other opportunities that are available in the space can be overshadowed by that. What do you guys see, or is there anything that you guys are doing to educate that next generation of, hey, there are other jobs, whether it's marketing, whether it's being a caster, whether it's being whatever else there might be. Is there any content or programs or things that you guys are doing and seeing out there to educate them about that?
Yeah, on my side, eFuse does two big things here. So one is we're really big on creating a resume for gaming. It's different than other industries in the sense that it's much more content focused. It's much more there's other nuances that go into this, right? So we part of our portfolio that we build out on eFuse is focused on showcasing all of those different talents and those different nuances in gaming. So that's piece number one, is sort of redefining what the resume looks like. And it's a big challenge, right? But trying to do that in gaming, that's piece number one. But piece number two is we've invested time and resources into what we call the learning portal. So this is where we have Aaron Ashley Simon, who's many of you have probably seen on LinkedIn. We've got individuals like Chris Puckett, a celebrity shoutcaster, that are coming into eFuse and building content around what does professionalism look like in this industry. They're conducting interviews with individuals like Mike Sepso, who have done really well in this industry, and trying to extract learnings from them and then showcase that to the next generation. So we are trying to provide and really validate what learning looks like in this industry. And then once you have that new knowledge base, provide a pathway to create your portfolio that can ultimately be used to get a job. So that's sort of how we think about the cycle: is let's provide resources, let's provide a community and a way for you to build out your portfolio. And then at the third piece is let's connect you to and give you access to opportunities in the industry. So that's sort of the loop that eFuse tries to close.
Absolutely. Anything to add from you, Nathan or Marcio?
I mean, I believe at least in Brazil, the job market, like I said, it's in the initial stages of professionalization. Sorry. There are many competent people and organization companies here doing a really well job. But from now, it's necessary to change some behaviors in relation how to start working this market. Sometimes the person have a passion, like to play, like to watch and follow the teams. But when some opportunity appears in front of himself, the person don't know what to do. The person don't know in which area he can work. So I believe, yeah, you can work, of course, with if you have a passion for this, but if you need to focus on developing self and study and learn new language, make college if you can, and start to connect with people. I was talking later with Rich Wogan from Hitmarker, which was a person with connecting with Juan. So someone received 400 resumes, and 3 people connected with this person in LinkedIn and talk about the resume, and that 3 people got an interview to that job. So you need to connect with people and working in the image in the social network, and try to show himself to the market too, so the people hiring can see you. And something it is good too. There are a lot of job requirements. There are a lot of job entries in the internet, and you can see what the companies are asking to. So you can focus. If you are on social media, you know you have to do a college sometimes of communication, of marketing, or have a course at least. You know you can see at the requirements. You need to be connected with the community of that sport title. So there are a lot of ways you can learn from what the people are doing to enter in this industry.
Anything to add, Nathan?
Yeah, the only thing that I'd really add in is, for the younger folks that are trying to figure out where in the industry you're potentially, interested in joining, like if you're, in high school right now and super passionate about games, I think the best piece of advice I can give is just talking with folks that are doing the job that you're most interested in, figuring out what their day-to-day looks like and making sure that that's something that is compelling for you, asking those folks where they started and, where, they're happiest to see potential candidates with experience coming from, and then really just kind of dedicating yourself to gaining that experience, even if it's, just getting your foot in the door.
Definitely. And then last question on this subject, and I know you guys kind of are all resources for this, but and this goes for both, whether you're someone younger, recent college grad, or you're pivoting from another industry. What resources do you guys know of where people that are looking for these job opportunities, where are some of the best places to go to search for these and to find them?
Yeah, I think so. We're partnered with Hitmarker. I think Hitmarker has, that's one of the hubs, if you will, of esports and gaming jobs. We also have some on our site as well. We have some of Hitmarker's jobs, but we also have our own. So I think those are two resources from our perspective.
Yeah. Plus one with that one, partnered with Hitmarker, been following Richard, who's the CEO of Hitmarker for the last 2 years. Without a doubt, it's the most used esports job hub. I think that and LinkedIn are your major go-tos for both the publisher side as well as teams and organizations.
I believe everyone here has a partnership with Hitmarker. It's a monopoly here, but well, it's in the looking in the global view, Hitmarker is the way you go to these kind of jobs. Now since March, they are sharing gaming jobs too, not only esports. And that, if I can say, of course, here in Brazil we have Vagas. We are almost with 10,000 followers, and since 2018 we share more than 2,000 jobs from the person here in Brazil. And now since March, with the partnership with Vagas, we start to share jobs from the companies in the Latin America too, and along with the Spain companies and Portugal companies too. So the people if there is someone from Brazil here or from Latin America, the people can follow Vagas and see this kind of jobs, because there's a lot of jobs in esports or in gaming related with esports, in companies which are not a team or an organization, don't have something related with esports. So it's my answer for this.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, for everybody listening, that's what we've got. These panel of these guests, I mean, they're all have their own organization that they're a part of, and that there's resources there, as well as, obviously Hitmarker is definitely the go-to, who's obviously not present, but these are all good guys to connect with and reach out to their teams or themselves. If you guys, I know we got some questions in the chat. We'll go like another 10 minutes here, and then we'll start to answer questions. So if anyone that's listening in has a question, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we'll start to pick those up here in the next 10 minutes, maybe do the last 15 minutes as Q&A. To talk now, we talked a little bit about the current market. The title of this panel is obviously Future Esports Jobs, so we obviously want to touch on that as well. I mean, what are, and I mean, you guys don't have to give away any $1 million ideas you might be thinking of during this quarantine time or anything, but what opportunities or openings do you guys see in the foreseeable future where maybe there's future roles that are going to be created, there's future companies need to be created? Again, going kind of back to, is there any gaps that you see that, there's viable opportunities for people to jump into, to start a new business, to provide value to the industry? Is there anything like that on your guys' horizon that you see?
First.
Well, I know talent management is a big one and is still a field that's being figured out. Working with influencers, within the industry is, talked about as being difficult. Folks that are, just becoming adults and are dealing with fame for the first time. And so helping guide individuals like that to be able to help them realize, the most amount of their success. And, as I mentioned before, business development and business development and content creation are just two big ones. I mean, for the esports industry to exist, it has to make money. And, for the business development piece, that's really important for bringing in outside partners that are partnered with, or that are, in traditional sports, and bringing them to the esports industry, and then, actually making content, from informative content to branded content for sponsors. It's all needed, and in various degrees of good throughout the industry currently.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one thing that I've sort of learned over the last even few months is how much handholding has to come from business development when you're talking about bringing non-endemic brands into the industry. And it's not only is it getting them to get involved, but it's helping them understand what this looks like compared to a traditional sports, and what are the differences and the nuances and how their brand can get involved. So I think that's a great skill. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm really bullish on supporting tech companies in the industry as well. Obviously, that's where we sit. It's a little biased there, but I really do believe that there's some cool opportunities for third-party organizations to come in and build infrastructure around this industry.
Well, here in Brazil, at least for the future, near future, 2021, when the Riot will implement the franchise here in the CB law. So in other countries, in other regions, already have this kind of system. So I think every organization around this system, this franchise thing, will start to grow even more, and we'll need more and more people from communication and creative people and operations people and business development and people who can work with sales, because with this kind of franchise system, the partnership is for a long future. So the companies and the third parties, like Matt said, we start to focus more and more with the because of the system, which gives the company some kind of stability to focus on partnership with partners and for a long future, at least I believe in 5 years and 10 years, something like this. And something I didn't know, I don't know if you know about it, but here's in Brazil, have a big market for a mobile game called Free Fire. So it's not a big market, I believe, in USA or Europe, but it's a big market here in Latin America and in the Southeast Asia. And a lot of companies here around the Free Fire esport is not starting to grow up. They are big. A company called Loud have millions and millions followers in his social media, and the tournaments here in Brazil and the international tournaments in Brazil got a lot of millions of viewers, concurrent viewers in their championships. So I believe a lot of jobs will appear around LoL and Free Fire here in Brazil.
Yeah, I think two other roles, or really one other role that kind of goes off of Nathan's point as well, with talent management, attorneys and accountants specifically in that space as well. I think there's some cool infrastructure and supporting roles when it comes to what you would see in traditional sports with accountants, lawyers, etc., but being that for talent management too.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, Matt. I talk about that a lot in my own stuff, so I'm with you on that. Cool. Well, we got some questions. I mean, anything else, I guess we'll give it a second here. Anyone else, if you want to drop some more questions in there, I guess for you guys, just open here. Is there anything else you want to add before we go into Q&A, just of either the current market, the future market, anything, that you guys think that's important that you're seeing right now in your day-to-days or out there in the industry?
Yeah, I touched on it before. It's just a tough time to be getting an entry-level position in the esports industry if you're out looking for a job right now. And I think the best thing that a lot of people can do in the short term is gain relevant experience in an adjacent industry, and not to be deterred by that. I mean, as I mentioned before, a lot of that's experience that's needed in our space. And so even if you can't get an internship or an entry-level position with the esports org or publisher, don't let that deter you. I mean, I started in aerospace and defense executive recruiting before I got my job with Riot. So, you can definitely make the transition.
Yeah.
Anything to add from you two, Matt or Marcial?
And I believe too, you need to get this experience, like Nathan said, and I believe you need to study, and you need to know your area or the area you want to work with, and you need to focus on this and develop yourself to enter in this industry. And everyone can work in this. I was looking to a graphic created by Nico Benson. I believe everybody knows here. There are a lot of opportunities and a lot of jobs around the esports. I will send here in the chat if the person can see, if you want to see too. And I believe everyone can work in this industry, because it's a industry like a lot like other industries. There's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I think just from my perspective, when we're hiring for our own company, some of the things that we are really been looking for are people that can come in and deal with ambiguity. It's just shocking to me how frequently this industry is changing, whether it's a new game coming out or new opportunities like going online. There's so much unknown, and being able to come in and not only settle that down and sort of make sense of it all, but then be able to go and build a plan to go execute on top of. So dealing with ambiguity is a huge part of what I've seen just in the last few months, and a crucial asset to have, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, to Matt's point, if you have an attribute like that where you can deal with a fast changing environment, that's usually the day-to-day here. So
yeah, now we are going to see a lot of Valorant sports related, so sport jobs related, and in few months there will be another game. So it's really fast industry.
And not to harp on this too much, but I think that is one of the things that's so different about this industry is it's almost like every few months you've got a new sport. It's like a new basketball, a new soccer, et cetera, right? So you almost have to create this templated system that can be rolled over into these different things, especially if you're as a third-party operator who doesn't necessarily have control over what games are coming out, right? You just have to be adaptable to that. So it's super interesting for me, and it's something we've learned a lot about in the last few months.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's what makes it fun to play in. All right, cool. Well, let's head over to Q&A. Let's see where the first question is at here. All right, I think the first one comes from Rick, and he said, Marcio, this is for you. He said, are you guys doing something with schools and colleges in Brazil, or any interest in doing so?
At least Vargas is not doing anything with schools and college, but there are some initiatives here with college championships, but related with jobs and related to help people to get in the industry. No, we are not doing nothing, but it's really an interest. So I believe for the future we need to focus on it, and we need to focus on.
Voltou agora.
Oh,
I
hello.
think someone unmuted, but.
Okay. For the future, we need to focus on it, because it's important to approach these people from all of the college course to get in this industry.
And I mean, too, just general, I guess with you guys, we can open that up to Matt and Nathan as well. I mean, are there anything that you guys are doing, working with universities to feed you, job opportunities or what they're looking for? Is there any communications that you guys have with any universities? I know, Matt, you guys are right by Ohio State and all that, but.
Yeah, I mean, my firm mainly focuses on executive level placements for the esports and video game companies. So universities aren't usually our go-to. That said,
Mhm.
I know when I was at Riot and PUBG, we had extensive communication, especially with specific colleges around, incoming freshman engineers. They had internships. I wasn't, don't think the internship program was as built out at PUBG when I was there, but that might be not the case anymore. But yeah, um, a lot of different esports and gaming companies are fairly involved because, bringing in the right entry level talent is so important.
Yeah, and our involvement is a little bit different, not necessarily in the job realm, but we work with universities a lot on the scholarship piece. So as more and more scholarships are becoming available in university, whether those are to study a specific major or to compete on a varsity program, helping to facilitate that navigation from high school into college. So that's mainly our collaboration with universities.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And then Matt, next question from the chat. It said, they asked from, again, Rick, he asked, is eFuse looking into entering Brazil? Is that in US Horizon?
Yeah, so we are absolutely looking to expand. We only launched our company and our platform on January 2nd of 2020, so we're still really fresh and we're still figuring a lot of it out. And we've been super fortunate to be very well accepted in North America, and now we're looking to spread that a little bit more. So anybody in the world actually can sign up for eFuse. It's efuse.gg. But one of the things that we're putting an emphasis on is we've got a lot of opportunities here in the US, but how can we continue to expand that pool of opportunities more broadly for the world? Because some of those opportunities don't necessarily make sense for everybody across the world, right? So we are spending more time in figuring out who we can partner with, not only to provide those opportunities and those pathways, but again, anyone in the world, yeah, we need to connect. Absolutely. Yeah, but just more broadly, anybody in the world can sign up, and that is an emphasis for us going into the latter part of 2020.
And Nathan, I'm curious with you, just also to speak on your point, do you guys, is it a lot of the jobs that you recruit for, is it just here in the US based? Is it international? Any value you can add there for maybe some of these people in the chat as well?
Yeah, I mean, as far as my firm is concerned, we are US focused. When I was at Riot, I hired a Brazilian engineer and, imported him to the US. But I will say the visa situation in the US is so brutal right now. If you're if you're looking to join the esports industry and you're outside of the US, getting work authorization is unfortunately nearly impossible at this point. And so, that unfortunately is just a grave reality of, people that are looking to get into the industry from outside of the country, at least in the US.
Gotcha. Okay. And then let's see, we had another question from Gabriel. Is there any jobs you see coming up in the future of esports that doesn't really exist yet? I think we touched on this a little bit, but anything else that comes to your guys' mind? I feel like we answered that, but, and Gabriel, I'm not sure if you heard that answer or not. We were speaking about it earlier, but, there's a couple different points. I think, Matt, you're talking about the professional services side. Nathan, I think you brought up, brand or talent management and things like that. So definitely some stuff there. Any other questions from anyone? I know we got still people in here. Any other questions that you guys have for any of the panelists here? And as we wait for a question, anything else from you guys to add? I know we got about 11 minutes here left if we want to use up the time. Anything to add from you guys? Again, any important conversations you think need to be had?
Yeah, I think the thing that a lot of us know that, hasn't been mentioned yet is like whatever your job or your likely job that you're looking for in the esports industry, if you're like more than 10 years out from actually getting your job. So if you're younger, likely doesn't exist at the moment, and, is for a game that none of us have heard about. And so, just being able to figure out what up, or, you know, what are you like, you know, what are you most interested in, and then, you know, being able to go from there is probably the most important thing. Obviously, if you're more experienced and, you know, have other industry experience, then you can translate that over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I guess we'll start to Dirk, so we got about 5 minutes left, but I guess we'll just start to wrap things up. I don't know. I believe all of you guys' socials and stuff may be attached to the event page, but if not, if you guys just want to go across real quick and just, you know, let everyone know where they can find you on social media and where your guys' company profiles are, and we can just go left to right. So Nathan, if you want to go first, then Matt, and then Marcio, if you want to finish it off for us.
Yeah, for sure. Another piece of advice to tack in here, the esports industry seems to run on Twitter. So if you're looking to connect with folks and you don't have a Twitter account, fix that. And, you know, you can find me on Twitter at Nate362. My company's website is newlevelrecruiting.com.
Yeah, likewise. Also on eFuse, you can find me at MJB is my handle on there, and then feel free to email me as well. It's mjb@efuse.io, and then our company's URL is efuse.gg if you want to find us.
Well, the Twitter is really important for Vargas because the project born there, and it's still there until now. And you can find Vargas in Twitter, Vargas BR, Vargas with 2 G's, and Vargas BR at LinkedIn and other social network. But the focus is right now is Twitter at least. And you can find me at Twitter to my /Colombia Marcio. Colombia is a nickname. In LinkedIn, you can find me too with Marcio Medeiros Teixeira. I can let you at the chat too, but it's like you can find. And you can find too at Hitmarket with the companies from Brazil and from Latin America. It's the work we are doing together there.
Perfect. Well, I thank all of you guys for coming on and sharing, you know, kind of everything that's going on in your geographic area and you guys day to day. Hopefully, I think this should have been really useful for everyone that's tuning